John D., Rockefeller didn't invent oil. He didn't discover the first well. He didn't pioneer the refining process. What he did was something more patient and more absolute. He built the machinery to control everyone who did. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled 90% of American oil refining. Not through invention, not through superior product, but through a kind of systematic suffocation. The mind that built that empire was not the mind of a gambler or a visionary. Rockefeller was a Baptist. He kept meticulous ledgers. He believed God rewarded discipline with wealth. In his autobiography, he wrote, "I believe the power to make money is a gift from God." This was not cynicism. He genuinely saw monopoly as a form of divine stewardship, a correction of market chaos into moral order. The faithful industrialist, imposing structure on a profane scramble. This belief system wasn't window dressing, it was the engine. He started in 1863, age 24, in Cleveland. The oil business then was wild and unstable. Hundreds of small refineries fought over crude. Prices swung daily. Fortunes evaporated in months. Rockefeller looked at that volatility and saw waste. His first move was vertical integration. He bought barrel-making factories, warehouses, pipelines, even the chemicals used in refining. His operation became self-contained. While competitors paid market rates for inputs, Rockefeller paid cost. The savings compounded. Then came the railroads. In 1871, he negotiated a secret deal with the Lakeshore Railway and other lines. Rebates on every barrel Standard Oil shipped. Not just discounts for volume, but kickbacks on competitors' shipments too. If a rival refinery in Cleveland shipped a barrel of oil, Standard got a cut. The railroads agreed because Rockefeller guaranteed them volume and consistency. The small refiners had no leverage. They shipped oil at inflated rates that secretly funded their own destruction. When the scheme leaked, it caused outrage. Rockefeller dissolved the formal arrangement but kept the rebates running privately. The structure remained. His next phase was consolidation through what he called the good sweating. He approached rival refineries individually, ledger in hand, and laid out the arithmetic. Join Standard Oil voluntarily and receive stock, or face a price war you cannot win. He rarely bluffed. If a competitor refused, Rockefeller dropped his prices below cost in that market alone, sustaining losses from his national profits until the rival broke. Once the refinery collapsed, he bought the assets at bankruptcy auction. Those who accepted the first offer joined the empire as regional managers, keeping their names on the door but answering to Cleveland. By 1872, Standard Oil controlled a quarter of American refining. By 1880, it was nearly everything. The legal innovation that secured the monopoly came in 1882, the trust. Standard Oil Company of Ohio couldn't legally own refineries in other states, so Rockefeller's lawyers invented a new structure. Shareholders of 40 companies handed their stock to 9 trustees, who managed the entire network as a single entity. Standard Oil ceased being one company and became a system, a hidden coordinated whole operating under dozens of local names. The trust was so effective that Congress eventually banned it. Rockefeller dissolved it in 1892, then immediately reassembled the same empire as a holding company under New Jersey law. The form changed. The control did not. What Rockefeller built was not just market dominance, but operational omniscience. He hired chemists to extract more kerosene per barrel than competitors thought possible. He built storage tanks at every railhead. He franchised tens of thousands of kerosene dealers across rural America, each one locked into exclusive Standard Oil contracts. He exported globally, undercutting Russian and Asian oil in their own markets. When new oil fields opened in Ohio or Texas, Standard was already there, pipelines laid before the first rivals arrived. The system learned faster than the competition could adapt. The human cost of this efficiency was foreclosure. Independent refiners who wouldn't sell found their shipments delayed on rail sidings. Oilfield wildcatters discovered that no refinery except Standard would buy their crude. Competitors accused Rockefeller of espionage, bribery, and sabotage. Congressional investigations confirmed most of it. In 1879, journalist Henry Demarest Lloyd published an expose titled The Story of a Great Monopoly, calling Standard Oil the greatest, wisest, and meanest monopoly known to history. Rockefeller never sued for libel. He considered the attention vulgar. The strangest fact is that Rockefeller lowered prices. Kerosene cost 58 cents a gallon in 1865. By 1870, it was 26 cents. By 1885, it was 8. Standard Oil's ruthlessness delivered cheap light to millions. The monopoly crushed competitors but enriched consumers. Rockefeller believed this vindicated him. If the weak refineries were inefficient, their destruction was economically moral. If the public benefited, the concentration of power was justified. He gave away more than $500 million in his lifetime, funding universities, medical research, and black education in the South at a scale unmatched in his era. He saw no contradiction between the brutality of Standard Oil and the generosity of his philanthropy. Both were expressions of order. By 1911, the Supreme Court ordered the breakup of Standard Oil under the Sherman Antitrust Act. The trust was split into 34 separate companies: Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, Amoco, Conoco. Rockefeller, who owned a quarter of Standard's shares, now owned a quarter of 34 companies. The breakup made him richer. The Supreme Court hadn't dismantled the monopoly, it had diversified it. He died in 1937, aged 97, at his estate in Florida. At the peak of his fortune, adjusted for inflation, Rockefeller was worth over $400 billion, the wealthiest individual in modern history. He never drank, he never smoked. He played golf and sang hymns and tithed faithfully. In his final decades, he wrote almost nothing about Standard Oil. He had built the thing that consumed the century's fuel, and he seemed in the end indifferent to its legacy. The monopoly had been the logic of the market perfected. He believed he had done what was necessary. What remains legible now is not the goodness or evil of his character, but the shape of the system he proved was possible. Rockefeller demonstrated that markets could be captured entirely, not through force, but through superior information, relentless cost discipline, and the patient accumulation of leverage. He showed that monopoly could be constructed legally, incrementally, and irreversibly. The oil that powered the 20th century flowed through gates he built. Every gallon carried the architecture of his will. Standard Oil is gone. The will remains.